Good morning. Thank you so much for joining Forge Breast Cancer Survivor Center for our coffee conversations. This morning, we are here with Donna Vaughn. We're so excited. We're going to be talking about breast cancer and nutrition and all of these other different things and some burning questions that people might have that hopefully we'll get to today. We're very excited to have her with Forge and excited for this coffee conversation. So as we get started, of course, as always, Donna, I would love if you could introduce yourself and just let us know a little bit about you.
Hi, I'm Donna Vaughn. Sorry, I had to get up. My dog, King, doesn't like closed doors. I'm a registered dietitian volunteering with Forge. For over 10 years of my time working as a clinical dietitian, I worked with oncology, and I loved helping patients through different phases of treatment. So I really enjoyed that. Was my favorite part of being a dietitian the years that I worked. I've not worked for a while in the hospitals, but keep up with my registration and licensure and all that. My husband George and I have been married for 38 years, and we have 3 children and one wonderful daughter-in-law. And so I stay busy for them and with them, even though 2 of them are out of town. But I spend a lot of my time. I love exercise and enjoy reading and traveling and baking and cooking for friends and family. And my sister and I work together all year collecting things for Operation Christmas Child for shoeboxes. So I don't know if y'all are familiar with that, but that's something that I spend a lot of time and effort on. And that's a fun way for me and my sister to work together, because she lives in Arkansas, so she's not here. But yeah, and I volunteer with Cornerstone schools and the food bank as well when I can. I've had rheumatoid arthritis for about 26 years now, and I have osteoarthritis as well. So I totally understand pain and going through treatments and diagnosis and testing and that sort of thing. And had a lot of trouble when I was first sick with nausea, and partly because of disease and partly because of medication. So definitely understand some of the problems, going through cancer treatment as well, although a lot of that is intensified. But dealing with any chronic disease is a challenge, and it's not easy. So some people just don't realize that once you've been diagnosed with breast cancer, you live with it forever. It's always something that's on your mind, even when you're all finished with treatment.
Yeah, even after active treatment, and that's something that we talk about here at Forge. Like, there are other things that continue to go on in your life after active treatment. Like, you have to deal with a new body, you have to deal with just all of those experiences that you've been through, and the adjustments that you've had to make and your family's had to make. So thank you so much for sharing about your wonderful, busy life. Like, for you to be able to find things that find purpose and meaning, that's always a gift. So thank you for, having the heart and the headspace to do that. So I'm really, really appreciative that you're willing to bring your expertise to Forge. And so in doing that, I have some things that I would just love to talk to you about. And the first being, when we think about breast cancer and nutrition, and you look at TV, you get on Facebook and the internet or whatever, and it tells you that this correlates with cancer and this correlates with cancer. And it can be overwhelming when you think about what you should, what you shouldn't eat. What does that mean for somebody who's been diagnosed? What does it mean for them when they're in treatment and things like that? So I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about it. And so one thing I want to know is, how does nutrition impact a person's breast cancer journey when in treatment, when they're out of active treatment? Can you talk to us a little bit about it?
Okay. Adequate nutrition is very important during treatment for any type of cancer, and eating healthy can provide the nutrients you need that fuel your body and aiding healing. Healing is so important with any types of treatment, whether it be surgery, chemotherapy, radiation. So eating healthy is very important. but treatment and side effects can result in changes to your eating habits and differences in the way your body actually uses nutrients. For some people, just the anxiety of the diagnosis alone can affect your appetite. Some people, when they get anxious, lose their appetite and have a difficult time eating. And for others, stress and anxiety increases their eating. That's just how different people cope with anxiety. But the side effects of treatment can make it difficult to eat a healthy, balanced diet to maintain your weight. So sometimes you may need to eat foods that are higher in calories and protein in order to keep up your energy and prevent weight loss. An adequate diet can impact how well you tolerate treatment. So it's just very important. It's a big part of the journey of breast cancer. And as you said, it impacts the whole family, not just you.
Mm-hmm. So in knowing those different things and talking to your doctor, I know for individuals who are not just aware of how important nutrition is, and I mean, honestly, what nutrition means, right? Some people just think about, well, is nutrition a diet? Like, what is it, right? And learning about the importance of nutrition and having a balanced diet, what are some soft steps that you would recommend for somebody who's like, hey, like I really want to know how I can eat better. I'm diagnosed with breast cancer. I don't know what caused it. I don't know how I'm here, but I'm here. What are some things that I can do to start off? Like I'm fresh to this and this healthy new eating. Like what are some things that you would recommend to people who are trying to begin this journey to healthier eating while they're being diagnosed with breast cancer, or even after they're out of active treatment? Like maybe they have the headspace now to start thinking about a more balanced diet that's healthy for them. What are some soft steps? Because I know me, and when I hear diet, I get like, oh my God, I'm just gonna have to eat lettuce and drink water for the rest of my life. Yeah, and I know like, it can be overwhelming, right? And so like, what are some soft steps to kind of help somebody just not get so overwhelmed, but they want to begin this journey?
Right. I think for all of us, we need to realize there's no such thing as being perfect every day, and forgive yourself and forget about it after you've had a bad day. I've been terrible throughout my life of beating myself up. Oh, I ate so much yesterday. That was so stupid, or I haven't been eating well. Maybe that's why my arthritis has flared up. We can't blame ourselves. Life is not perfect. No food is perfect. And that's one thing, as I was reading on something today, there's no one food or no specific foods that are absolutely proven to prevent cancer or to cure it. So we just have to follow the guidelines of recommendations of research that's gone on over the years. And most of that is keeping your weight at a healthy weight. And for some of us, that looks different than others. We all deal with different weights that you want to be versus what's healthy for you.
Yeah.
And, if you're not sure about that, what you need to be at, you can work with your dietitian or a doctor to make sure that you know that level. Eating lots of fruits and vegetables. That's, and all the research and everything. Some people, especially it seems like the younger generation, but really just want a magic pill, take a vitamin and get all the nutrients you need from fruits and vegetables. And that's really, studies can't prove if it's the actual vegetable itself or if it's the vitamin or mineral that's in the vegetable and the fruit. Mm-hmm. So eating lots of fruits and vegetables and a variety.
I think that came from the Jetsons. The Jetsons gave us the idea that if you just take this little pill, like,
oh wow, that's funny.
Like you'll be good if you just take the little pill. I think about the Jetsons all the time because I saw a meme and they're like, when he woke up and he got the breakfast out of a pill and he was FaceTiming Jane and all of that. So I think a little bit of just that
I'll have to watch those
influence.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. You can just do these little bitty things and it'll make up for all of
magically
this. Yeah,
make
but
up for
it's more to it. You have to put a little more effort, a little more thought and planning into it.
Yeah. And that is hard, especially when you're consumed with these days, the cost of food, but gathering the food, getting the food, to me, the most complicated thing is it's not just for you. If you're not living alone, you've got your family to deal with. Even right now, it's just me and my husband, but sometimes I'll think of something I want for dinner and I'm like, he's not going to really like that. So it just is complicated. Life is complicated because a lot of people that are going through breast cancer still have young children at home. I have my niece who's 39 that was just diagnosed, and she's having her 4th chemotherapy today. And I just know this weekend's going to be hard for her. And you don't even want to think about food, much less think about cooking it or helping provide it for other people or smell it, so it's complicated. But anyway, back to eating healthy, trying to eat lots of fruits and vegetables. Like I said, some days you may be able to eat more than others. Trying to eat a variety. I know sometimes some people get stuck on eating the same thing every day, and eating a variety of fruits and vegetables, a variety of foods is very helpful. And trying to eat foods that are high in omega-3 fatty acids. That is one thing that's been shown to be helpful with breast cancer, and really any, heart disease and other things too. But that can be fish like salmon, and even walnuts are high in omega-3 fatty acids. Beans like kidney beans and navy beans are high in omega-3 fatty acids, and flaxseed as well. Flaxseed is one thing that over the years, there's been some controversy on how well it's actually absorbed in our bodies. But part of that is another complication is GI absorption. And so if you're having any other troubles, sometimes it doesn't absorb correctly. But eating lots of whole grains, it can be things like, whole wheat bread. It could be trying different things. I don't know if y'all have tried quinoa, farro, and some of those grains. I love those, but I have to make an effort to remind myself to cook those and eat those. But I really do enjoy them. And oats, whether it be oatmeal or having it in things that you're cooking. Trying to avoid soft drinks. Again, during chemotherapy, sometimes it's whatever you can tolerate. But soft drinks really just add a lot of empty calories and so much sugar, which can increase inflammation. So you really want to try to stay away from soft drinks or sweetened beverages like tea. And but there's going to be sometimes you might need the sports type drinks just to get enough minerals and such if you're sick. But trying to limit the amount of the sweetened beverages. Coffee and tea is supposed to be a positive thing for us. I'm not a coffee drinker, but I do love tea. So I drink my tea every single day, usually kind of all day, but trying to drink plenty of water. I know that's one thing I've been guilty of over the years. I was a diet Coca-holic for years and finally got off that addiction.
It tastes good. Like me and Janet, my coworker, she's always like encouraging me to do better just because she's trying to do better. But I have a Coca-Cola thing, man. I just see the thing and I just like, I love you so much. But
I'm telling you, I will, after this meeting, I will tell you some things about the Coke company. That's what helped me get off of it. But 2 years ago, I quit cold turkey and haven't even had a sip of Diet Coke since. And if you knew me, how old am I? 60 now. And I've been drinking diet drinks since I was a little kid. So
please give it.
If I can do it, anybody can.
Yes.
Also just limiting fats. We as Americans pretty much most of us eat too much fat. And so trying to limit the saturated fats and the processed meats. That's really hard, I think, for a lot of us because, here in the South, we have our smoked meats and processed meats, sausages and things like that are so good that it's hard to avoid those.
And then, like you said earlier, when you have the families, right?
Yeah.
And you do something that's just doable and that's quick and that's easy. But in turn, it might not be the healthiest option.
Right. And like we said earlier, some days you're going to have days where you eat better than others and just keep moving forward and keep trying every day. Increase in exercise is so important. I know that's not just diet related, but it just not only makes you feel better, it really does help maintain your weight, helps maintain muscle mass, to do, especially if you do any kind of weight training, but even if it's just walking, and even if it's not that much, just every day, if you can do a little bit and increase your, it just makes you feel better, and it does help with diet and exercise together. It's very helpful.
Thank you for all of those tips. And I know like we could go a long time with tips. So, thank you for that. And I like that you're just coming and you giving a lot of facts, right? Because when people think about diet and they think about how their diet might affect whatever diagnosis they might have, not just breast cancer, but in general, like if somebody wants to improve their life, if somebody wants to improve their weight or whatever, but the internet can be very misleading. And I wanted to kind of ask you what your thoughts are on like what's fact and what's myth on diets, especially to those related to breast cancer. Like I said, it can just be really overwhelming when you get on Dr. Google and he's telling you that everything is bad, or things that probably aren't that good are good. How can one be the most informed about what is fact, because some people might not have access to a dietitian. Some people might not, they might want to make this change now, but they're not able to reach their doctor at the moment. What are some things that you would recommend for somebody who's looking for a way to be more informed on how they can eat better, how they can balance their nutrition or their daily living throughout this process, throughout treatment or after treatment, whenever?
Well, I do think even if you're Googling, which unfortunately can get us into trouble, as you said, you just have to be careful to make sure that you're reading things that are written by either a dietitian, which they will have an RD, registered dietitian, behind their names, or doctor. Unfortunately, not all doctors know that much about nutrition. So you have to be a little careful about that. But there are different websites that are more credible than others. For instance, there's American Institute of Cancer Research, the NIH, those reputable sources. Or like I have a lot of blogs that I follow that are dietitians, even just food blogs. They may not eat everything perfect, but they are good because I know what they're supplying is what they're writing about is good basic information about nutrition. So trying to be careful to avoid, there are a lot of people out there that are just influencers that are getting paid to promote a different product, or they're selling products that may or may not actually be helpful. So you do have to be careful where you look for those. And all hospitals have dietitians, and a lot of them, most of them have some sort of outpatient dietitian too. So if you can't get, I'm available. If anyone has questions, I can help you or try to help you. And in different areas there, I can help you find someone. If there's, some people need to meet one-on-one with a dietitian for answers, because some people come into treatment for breast cancer already having other issues such as diabetes or kidney problems or GI issues that you have to keep intact and deal with while going through treatment or afterwards, as you said. A lot of people deal with weight gain during breast cancer. So it takes a long time sometimes to get off those medications that can promote weight gain or weight loss. It takes time. It's not going to be something that's going to be overnight. And so you have to be patient. But as far as just being incredibly informed, watching out for those and making sure they have RD behind their names, or I hate to say it, but being careful about people that are just trainers I have a niece that her husband owns gyms, and they're wonderful, but they follow kind of a crazy diet, I think, that is really difficult to follow. And then I think some people might have a harder time following those difficult things when sometimes we just need to eat healthy. And sometimes it affects our diet gradually because of the medications and that sort of thing. So we have to be patient as well.
And then finding out like what's right for you. Because you'll think about like you said, some of the influencers or whatever people are into, right? And it's no one size fits all.
Exactly.
It's okay that some things work for you and not for someone else.
True.
And vice versa. So I like that you mentioned, like, be careful about what you think will work. It might not, and that's okay. It doesn't mean anything's wrong with you or your body, or anything like that. So I think that's an important thing that I hope viewers take away from you even saying that. And so one more question before we, start to wrap this up. What tips do you have for individuals? And it kind of loops back to a question I had earlier, like those who, are starting this journey to being more informed about their diet and about their nutrition. But again, like, I'm anxious about it. I'm nervous about it. Everything is overwhelming me. What, things would you recommend for them to kind of just help manage that aspect of it? Like, yes, you need to start this, but let's address the feeling around nutrition. Like, what are some recommendations you have for individuals who need to just address, like, I am so nervous about this. I'm so scared. Like, what if I slip up and eat a cookie? Or what if I slip up and eat a Coke? Or I have a bag of chips because I'm on the run and I need to have something to snack? What kind of advice you would have for those people to give themselves grace and learning how to eat healthier, especially during this time in their life? Yes, dieting and nutrition is important all the time, but especially when you're going through something that impacts so much of your body.
I think you nailed it. Just giving yourself grace. We're all going to have days where you either eat way too much or eat too much of the bad stuff for different reasons. And you just have to move forward to the next day. But nobody can eat perfect every single day. And just keep in mind that our bodies are pretty resilient. We can come back from from eating wrong or not eating enough by making up for it later. Obviously we don't want to eat 25,000 calories in one day and expect not to gain weight, but just like you said, sometimes you're in a rush. Sometimes it's eating with friends and you want to just enjoy yourself and eat what everybody else is eating. And if you can do that, then enjoy it and move forward. There's no one magical food that is going to make everything better. There's no one horrible food that's going to ruin your diet. Have the cookie, but just have one instead of half a dozen, and enjoy it. And food, like I said earlier, is such an important part of our lives. It's really a social part of our lives as well as physical. And so we've got to enjoy time with friends and family as much as we can, and trying to enjoy those times and focus on the good things and not always worrying about eating everything perfectly. As far as the anxiety of eating, I just think if you have questions, find someone like a dietitian to talk through questions that you have so that you can feel more confident about what you're doing. For instance, there's lots of different supplements out there, and you ask 10 people that have gone through cancer treatment, they'll tell you 10 different things, but sometimes, like you said, none of those are right for you. So you just have to discuss it with someone if you have a lot of anxiety over your diet and eating. And there's, that we have diet, the doctor orders labs, the dietitian or doctor can look at your lab work to tell you if you're not eating well. Not eating enough protein, for instance, and iron and some of those things that you may be concerned about. So those are things that we watch, as well as your weight, because weight gain sometimes can just be fluid. So you may have to watch salt and things like that. So it's a process. And I think just trying not to be anxious about the food and trying to take care of your daily needs and trying to take care of yourself. This is obviously when you're diagnosed, it's a time when you've got to focus a lot on yourself. And sometimes we feel guilty about that, I think. But just trying not to be anxious, but trying to be better informed so that you don't feel so worried about everything that you're eating. I hope that makes sense.
It definitely makes sense. Talking to the right people and just, like you said, recognizing that, okay, I don't know what's going on. I'm going to talk to somebody who knows what's going on so that I can get an individualized plan for me.
Exactly.
Not what everybody else is Googling.
Exactly.
So with that said, do you have any final thoughts you'd like to leave our viewers with or our listeners with?
I think we've pretty much covered it, but just keeping in mind that there's no absolute evidence. I'm sure some people, when they're diagnosed with breast cancer, in some ways may even want to blame it on yourself. I think of that sometimes with my arthritis. If I would have been eating better, maybe I wouldn't have had this. And there's no absolute evidence that shows or proves anything causes any foods that we eat causes breast cancer or cures it. And so keeping that in mind and just trying to eat healthy and finding sources that you can maintain and you can afford. Financially, it's really a big deal right now. I went yesterday just to buy, I was taking dinner to someone last night and wanted to buy them strawberries and they were $8.50. I just couldn't believe it, So sometimes those things that we want to have maybe out of reach and just balance it out with finding other sources, whether it be a different way it's frozen instead of fresh, for instance. But just trying to eat a balanced diet as much as possible and know that nothing you've done in the past could be solely responsible for it.
Thank you so much, Donna. And I really enjoyed our conversation. I think that given a lot of tips and a lot of questions were answered. So I'm very excited that we'll be able to share this with others. And again, thank you.
Thank you so much.